Weekly update from GoJacks.com. The head coach of the Jackrabbit men's basketball program, Eric Henderson. 2 home wins this past week to maintain first place in the Summit League standings. And I'm not sure what the halftime speeches have been all about. Maybe you need to move those to the first halves because you're down 3 at the half against Denver, down 10 at the half against Purdue-Fort Wayne. But the second halves, and we'll talk about them individually, but great second halves en route to 2 league wins.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And thanks for that recommendation, Tyler. I appreciate that. But certainly it isn't any magic. You know, obviously we need to play with a little bit more urgency in those first halves, and you got to give credit to the other teams too, though. They came out and threw the first punches, and we need to make sure we straighten that up a little bit and are ready from the tip. But to see our resiliency and bounce back in the second half, both nights was pretty special and has a lot to do with our fans, to be honest with you.
We'll get to all of that. Let's start with Denver. And in the second half, Noah Friedel, Baylor Shireman, 2 guys who did not score in the first half, play huge roles, both scoring the basketball and in other ways to lead you back to a win.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think they had 14 assists between both of them, and that's 2 freshmen you're talking about. And Noah hit some big shots as well. But, both of them are playing at a really high level, and that's not always the case for freshmen, and it's a long season, a lot longer than what they were used to the last few years they were playing high school basketball. But to those guys' credit, they're staying in it, locked in mentally, and when you're locked in mentally, it sure helps the outcomes on the court.
Down 10 at the half on Sunday against Purdue-Fort Wayne, then a second half run, the likes of which you rarely, if ever, see, 40-7 over the first 12 minutes of the second half. Keeping in mind you only scored 26 in the whole first half. What an amazing start to that second half.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It was pretty special, and it all started with taking care of the basketball and not giving them easy baskets in transition. They had 19 points at halftime off our turnovers, and we had 0. And we knew we were going to have to fix that if we were going to change the outcome of the game. And to our guys' credit, they really battled their tails defensively. I thought they played with a lot more energy, a lot more urgency. Had to switch up a little bit what we were doing offensively to get some false motion going and get the ball swung side to side a little bit more instead of just throwing that into the paint. But once we got some defensive stops and we were scoring, fairly easy in transition, turned them over a few times, and then our crowd got going, and there was a bunch of juice in the building on yesterday, and so it was really enjoyable. And you don't see that very often, but our guys were cooking.
And to that point, just what an atmosphere it was. I've seen a lot of games in that building over the years, but man, there was a level of excitement, the appreciation, trying to urge them on, and then the appreciation once things got going.
Yeah, it worked 2 ways. You have to have 2 sides to make it work, and we were making plays, and then the more plays we made, the louder that our fans got, and there was a lot of energy in the building, and it just gives us a great deal of confidence and energy, and if we're playing confident and with a great deal of energy, we've been fairly successful.
2 double-doubles in these 2 games for Matt Dentlinger. Did not miss a shot either from the field or the free throw line on Sunday in the win over Purdue-Fort Wayne. What have you seen out of this young man who, from the start of play way back in November to now, that has made him a legitimate first-team All-League candidate?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with, his consistency on both sides of the ball. Statistically, offensively anyway, he's been tremendous. He's scoring it at a high level. He's leading the league in field goal percentage, top 15 in the country. And, so he's really special, such a willing passer down there. But it may be even more impressive on the defensive side of the ball, Tyler. He's very physical. He's hard to score against, and he's really, really good at guarding the ball screen. And if we can keep things simple for him. And yesterday, as good as he was offensively, he might have been even better defensively.
All right, let's discuss the 2 games this week as you go on the road Wednesday at the University of North Dakota. This is a team that you beat in Brookings first time around. What do you take from that first meeting?
Well, they're a very competitive basketball team, and they're led by their point guard, senior point guard Marlon Stewart, who's a handful. He's one of the better guards in our league, and he can get downhill. He can make 3-point shots. But the biggest thing is he gets to the foul line and makes plays for other people. So we have to do a really good job with Marlon. But you also have to understand they're not a one-headed monster. You know, they got 4 guys in their starting lineup that are averaging double figures. And so we got to be solid in all aspects. And, you know, if we can go in there and play confident and play with a bunch of energy and get defensive stops and play with good flow, you know, hopefully we'll have a chance at the end to knock them off. But we'll have our hands full, that's for sure.
And this is such an important game for both teams. You obviously are in the running for a conference championship, a top 2 seed, but with all the unknowns in the middle of the pack there, this has so much meaning for them as well. You know you'll get their best shot.
Yeah, and I think we're both in similar spots as far as, let's just not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's look at what we have next in front of us, and that's what we're doing. We understand and have a lot of respect for what Paul does up there, and yeah, they're playing for something, we're playing for something, and it's going to be a heck of a game.
All right, then Sunday it's the South Dakota Showdown Series presented by South Dakota Corn, the matchup with in-state rival USD. It is also Senior Day, so there's a lot to this. First meeting down in Vermilion, you shot well. They shot exceptionally well. It was 2 great offensive performances in the USD's win.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They're as explosive as anybody in our league offensively, and they got many weapons. And Hagedorn's playing at a high level, but so are their other dudes. And so we'll have our hands full. There's so many ways they can beat you on the offensive side of the basketball. So we got to be locked in. And obviously, with Brandon and Bo, it'll be a special day here in Frost Arena and rivalry game. There should be a lot of energy in the building.
The rivalry game, and then again Senior Day. I know they'll talk to the crowd a little bit. You'll give them jerseys. It's always special when you have a chance to acknowledge 2 seniors and who have traveled unique paths here to South Dakota State in their time as a Jackrabbit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Both of them are unique and special in their own ways. As Bo being his 5th year in our program, and just the energy and the enthusiasm that he brings to practice in our games every single day is so special for our group. And then obviously Brandon, coming back to our team this year and making the most of it. Both of them very unique, but both of them very special.